Greetings, everybody. On behalf of the Arafat family, we all thank you for being here. I'd also like to acknowledge so many people that couldn't be here today, whether they're overseas or just not in the immediate area, and my thoughts are also with them. I was pretty lucky to know Randy, aka the Duke. He had a lot of nicknames. He lived just up the street from me. His house was known as the Block Party. It was either the Ezels, the Rawls, my house, sometimes the Harts. Everybody met there. It was like our focus spot where, as kids from all various ages, we would hang out and get into trouble, kind of. You know, there was antics to be done, skateboard ramps to be built, jumps to be done, and pranks. Pranks to pull on one another or even on your friends. It was a wild but absolutely fun life, and it felt like each one of those houses, whether it was the Rawls or the Ezels, you could walk into it anytime. Just walk in and say hello and have a sandwich. And they were all family. And I'm grateful that the Ezels are here today, as well as the Rawls. Thanks for coming. It's been a long time. But in the 80s, it seemed like you could just walk into any one of those houses, and it was pretty special. So for a year, I drove Randy to high school. That was my senior year. And when I finally graduated college, Randy flew out to Colorado and drove back to LA with me, but we had to stop in Utah for a Fish concert. He really loved music, and he was always a big supporter of Sunday school. I had this jam that I would do at my house on Sunday nights, and he was always the chef, making sure that everyone was taken care of. And there was a cook-off with him and Al Kim once. And Randy, of course, made this special sauce, and it was just incredible. His way of watching a TV show and knowing exactly what they did and then applying it to the next night's dinner always amazed me. It was incredible. Randy was a great wingman. He was a yes man, although many times he'd start with no Lou, but as an inside joke that we would say to one another, but he was a guy that would definitely go and do whatever it was. And you know what? It would be better because he was there. He was able to research whatever it was that you were doing and come back and bring something to that table and to that event and make it extra special, whether it was fishing, boat, hiking, mountaineering, you name it, any kind of project. So I got this boat, and I told him that I wanted to make a center console. And the next day, he showed up with a diagram about where it would be and how we would have this gas tank that would fit underneath, and the bait tank would be here, and the lines would run this way. And I was like, wow. And then he even made templates so that we were able to put it together relatively quickly, and then it worked. And he enjoyed the discovery of creation and then seeing it work. And that was just something I was always impressed with. He was really good at it too because it ran in his family. If you'd ever gone to the Arafat house, you'd notice the garage was open and how Dad was in the garage building something, whether it was a plane or whatever. There was stuff everywhere, and there was always a project going on. Randy was so smart. It seemed like he would know things before anyone else. And sometimes he would almost get impatient, like waiting for you to figure it out. At least that's how I always felt. Maybe it was just me. It seemed like he had his own Google, right? Because he would research stuff and find it so fast. And he would then help you out, figure it out. Like, I told him I wanted Pro Tools, which was predominantly an Apple-based system, and he built one for a PC. Not only did it work, but it was a fraction of the cost with tons more memory and a lot of speed. And how he was able to be a computer genius the way he was, I'd never figured that out, but he definitely did. And he mastered it, and he excelled. I know that nature calmed Randy. He would go on long walks along the beach with his dog or in the hills of Palos Verdes, and he gravitated towards the mountains. Nature would ease his mind and was a distraction from the chaos of the world. So Randy moved to Bishop with his mom, Valerie, in March of 25, and his dog, Cassie. He would fish 4 hours a day. He'd cook and care for Valerie. Their home was nestled next to the Sierra Mountain Range in the Owens River Valley. It was just a bit south of Mammoth. It was extremely gorgeous there. I regret that I didn't take more trips out to visit him or spend time there, as Hasan and I went up to visit the place and were pretty much in awe every time at how beautiful and special that area was. And I'm glad he was able to be there. When Randy saw us suffering, he was extremely empathetic. He always wanted to help. So he had this rock in his bathroom that says courage. So I thought about that. I was wondering, what does this mean? Like, why was the guy who was so smart and so advanced, why courage? And I thought about that. Maybe it was his reminder to leave the familiar and push to follow his path of his soul, to act without uncertainty. So when Randy saw suffering, he was empathetic and wanted to help, and maybe the courage was his voice on telling people how he could help, or just offering that. His research and passion for perfection was evident in his current hobby, which was fly fishing. Randy used barbless hooks. This made it easier for catch and release, but also didn't harm the fish. It was also a lot more challenging. He was really good at trying out new methods and places and styles, and he got incredible results. He researched blogs from other parts of the world to learn how to go after bigger fish that would hide deep in the rivers. And as it turns out, big fish eat mice. I didn't know, but Randy made a fly that was all brown and big and fluffy, and he was pulling out giant fish that people were in awe over. He had a huge collection of fabric and yarn, and he would collect insects from the side of the river, and he would make his own flies. He would come home and basically replicate that bug and go out and catch the next fish. He also tried a swivel hook, so he took 2 hooks and made it so that it would look like it was swimming. And some of the local shops said, that's never going to work well. You'll see some pictures to prove that it did. He was playing with nature, learning the psychology of the fish, and practicing his spiritual ministry. In the Bible, the book of John, chapter 21, verse 6, Jesus tells the disciples to cast their net on the right side of the boat. And when they do, the net comes back overflowing. It's a moment that begins in uncertainty and ends in abundance. A reminder that even when we feel lost, there is guidance, there's grace, and there is more than what we can see. For someone who felt at home on the water and in the quiet places of the outdoors, this verse carries an even deeper meaning. Randy understood the patience of casting a line, the peace that comes from watching the sun rise over the still water, and the hope that lives in every cast. Not knowing whether that blessing will come next as a fish or the ability to try again. Those moments weren't just hobbies for him. They were reflections of how he lived, connected to nature, connected to creation. As we remember Randy, may this verse remind us that this story doesn't end here. Just as the disciples found more in their nets than they expected, may we find more in our memories, more gratitude, more peace, and more love. You know, we're all lucky that we knew Randy. We'll hear from some of his friends.
Yeah. First off, I'd like to thank Randy's family for asking me to speak and thank all of you for attending Randy's service. I am grateful for the privilege to speak about and honor my and our memories of Randy. For those of you that don't know me, my name is James Pratt, and I've been friends with Randy since our time together at PV High School. Randy was a dear and cherished friend to my wife Candace and I. We had many adventures together in high school and beyond, and he was the groomsman at our wedding. Randy meant the world to me. Randy was one of my favorite people in the world. He was kind, generous, sincere, understanding, supportive, and loving soul who was always willing to be there for his friends, family, and dogs. He approached the world with humility, compassion, humor, and a Cheshire cat-like smile. He was one of the most naturally brilliant people I've ever known, who was so gifted at countless activities and knowledgeable about everything from cooking to complex intellectual topics. He was always there to listen to you when you needed him, accepted you as you were, and we always had fun together. We, as many of our PV classmates here did, traveled through Europe together on our high school graduation trip. Randy and I also spent time diving in Hawaii, hitting the ski and snowboard slopes, reeling in yellowtail at Hasan's bachelor party, and celebrated together at countless music concerts over the years. We shared the feeling that music, particularly live music, nourishes your soul. One of my favorite memories of Randy was when he took me to my very first Grateful Dead show in Las Vegas, where he shared the grand majesty of their live concert experience with me. I remember the experience of wading through a sea of people on the floor and being overwhelmed at first, especially in the blazing heat of the desert. But Randy brought us up to the bleachers to join Haas and Catherine in the stands for a bit of solace, an unobstructed view, and a home base to launch out from. That experience changed me forever and opened my mind and spirit up to appreciate and experience life more than ever. Randy had a profound effect and impact on my life, which I am forever grateful for. The last gifts Randy gave to me were his hand-tied flies he made special for me for the rivers in Montana, where I live now. He knew I was working on becoming a better angler like he was. I will cherish those flies forever to remind me of my dear friend. Randy, it has been a blessing to have you in our lives. I will miss your mischievous smile, our phone calls, our adventures, our poker games at Bucks, and our adventures attending our favorite band's concerts. In closing, in the immortal words of Robert Hunter, which I've taken a bit of liberty with, fare you well, we love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock your soul. Randy, may you rest in peace.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, James. That was beautiful. Hi there. Most of us here today first heard the news of Randy's passing on the morning of New Year's Eve. And if memory serves correct, it was a cold, wet, dark, and rainy day. And I believe the next couple of days were as well. The weather expressing itself exactly as it should have been on such an awful day. Yet here we are, exactly 30 days later, a room full of friends and family who love Randy and who are here not to mourn, but to celebrate. And it couldn't be a more beautiful day. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, it's 80 degrees in January, and there are no coincidences. I have no doubt in my mind that Randy is here right now, enjoying every minute of this. Excuse me referring to my cell phone, I'm not checking texts, I'm checking notes. I need the crutch. Some of this gets hard to remember. For instance, my name is Rich Radford. I'm a childhood friend of Randy's. Randy and I became close in high school. And for a really good chunk of that time, we were totally inseparable. Being here today and looking out here today and seeing all of these incredible faces from that period of time is amazing, and it's a real testament of how much love we all have for Randy. This feels like home, and I'm hopeful that that's how Randy's feeling right now as well. Comfortable, happy, at peace, and home. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to stand here in front of you and to pay tribute to Randy. I'm grateful for the friendship that we shared. I'm grateful for the impact that he had on me, which will be a part of me forever. I know Mr. Arafat's not here today, but I have him deeply in mind as I dig into all of this. So, Mr. Arafat, Mrs. Arafat, Hasan, Catherine, along with everybody here, I do want to express my most sincere condolences. Randy's passing struck as completely surreal. There was no way to make any sense of it. It was impossible to reconcile. I can't imagine how difficult the past 30 days have been for me. I also want to thank you for allowing this day to happen, and for allowing all of us to come together to be with you today, for the sole purpose of celebrating your son and your brother. Like everyone here, I've thought about all of you, your family, so much over the past month. And the one thing I found myself really hoping is that you know how much so many people loved Randy. He was deeply, deeply loved. The way that people have come together to share stories, to share photos, to share memories has been amazing. There's a common theme within all of this sharing. Everybody had fun with Randy. It was a simple equation. If Randy was around, you were smiling. If he's around, you're having a good time. And I don't think that's any different today. I think if you close your eyes for 5 seconds and you think about Randy, try it. You're going to smile. His presence remains extremely strong. There are people here today who have been visited by Randy in their dreams since he passed. There are people here today who are convinced that Randy has taken over their playlist, both in their car and at home. People have remembered Randy as a genius. Completely true. He was always the smartest person in the room and nobody doubted it. He's been remembered as a great athlete. Even an hour ago, somebody was having a memory of him as a soccer player as a kid, stating that he was a great left winger. He was dangerously charming. He was good looking. Randy had a smile that made you think that he knew something you didn't. He had a gleam in his eye that made you think that trouble just might be around the corner. But 9.5 times out of 10, it was fun trouble. The very best kind. And to me, that's where Randy lived, in constant pursuit of fun. He had it all, but more than anything, he was just so much fun. If you weren't trying to be around Randy in those days, you were missing out. You just weren't doing it right. Randy and I did what Palos Verdes kids did in the late 80s and early 90s. Yeah. Plenty of stories can't be told. The innocent stuff. We TP'd houses, we went pool hopping, we may or may have not done some occasional garage hopping. We certainly ordered beers with our pizza at Francesco's in Golden Cove. At age 16, neither of us looking a day over 15. We spent the summers wasting our days away at the Can at Rat Beach. We both loved girls named Julie. Tonya came just a little bit later. And we totaled the occasional car, trying to get girlfriends home by curfew. Did I mention that Randy was fun? And I think that's his legacy. At least that's his legacy for me. You know, fun and laughter, as every year goes by, become in more and more short supply. And with Randy's passing, fun has lost one of its great suppliers. With his memory in mind, if we all made it a point to prioritize fun and to create fun instead of occasionally stumbling across it, I think that would make him happy. And if we share that pursuit with our friends, our families, and most importantly, our children, I think that is a legacy that Randy would really be proud of. You know, people pay a lot of money to find happiness, to smile, and to feel good. And Randy gave that to us for free for so many years. And for that, I know we're all grateful. And it's something that will have us feeling close to him forever. We all need more people like Randy in our lives. People to remind us to slow down and to remind us that this is all actually supposed to be fun. I know Randy's here today. I'm sure he's felt this gathering coming. He's seen his friends and family pack bags, jump on planes, and drive from near and far to be with him today. And maybe on this day, it's our turn to make him smile. So, in the spirit of giving Randy just a little bit of what he gave to us for so long, I do invite all of you to stand up and to join me in giving Randy a standing ovation that he can hear in heaven.
I see this courage pebble staring at me, so I'm trying to harness that. I'm Tonya Thorington Monaghan, and I've known Randy since, I guess, we were kids. And yeah, it's really, wow, just seeing everybody from this perspective, it really is overwhelming to see just all the lives that Randy's brought together. He was deeply loved by all of us. And before I begin, I just want to say how sorry I am to the Arafat family. We've lost one of the best. I can only imagine how excruciatingly painful this has been for all of you. You've been really on my heart so much in my prayers. I've had so many sleepless nights. But I really hope that today you're comforted by all the love in this room. We started a high school text chain after his passing, and we have shared so many funny stories. I mean, stories that made us cry with laughter, mostly about how mischievous Randy was and how fun he was. We've shared lots of that, back and forth over the past month. So many stories. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but I was encouraged to share, to offer a different perspective and a different side of Randy that I was lucky enough to know very well. Randy came into my life when I was 10 years old. I'm a year young for my grades, so this is middle school. We became close in middle school at Monaghan Cove, and honestly, most of the time he was actually terrorizing me. That's the way he showed love, I was told. And usually that was alongside both Todd and Rich as well. That mischievous spirit was just part of who Randy was. He was funny, he was loyal, he was wicked smart, and he was full of life, and it was contagious. And he had that twinkle in his eye that literally could charm anyone. Our summers were spent at Pratt Beach. After summer school at Monaghan Cove, we would hike down the path every day, and we would stay there till the sun came down. It was long beach days by the can, salty hair, sunburned shoulders, and nonstop shenanigans as we just were rotating in groups around the can. It was a simpler time. There were no phones. We had ghetto blasters, all playing our mixtapes that often we had to record like on a radio. We spent the whole day down there, and for sustenance we'd hike up to Roster Pool. I remember buying red vines, using it for straws in a Coke. We were just being kids. One core memory from that time was when we were in 8th grade. We were at Pratt Beach as usual. There were only 3 girls that day. It was me, Jill, Marion, and Faye Sibylla, who wishes she could be here. She's in Spain. And all of the boys, about 10 of them, decided to dogpile me. Most of them are sitting here, actually. They'll all remember this day very well. Because it became one of my most mortifying moments of my teenage life. When they all got off me, I was kind of coming up off the sand, I realized my top had come off. And everyone was laughing and pointing. I was slowly dying 1,000 deaths. And it was Randy who quietly went and got me a towel. And I never forgot that. The biggest jokester became my protector in that moment. These past few weeks have been hard. I've been going through hundreds of photographs, and I mean hundreds because I've always been a documentarian. Those that know me well know I brought my camera to school. I brought my camera everywhere, capturing everything. And it's overwhelming to look at so many images of someone you've known for so long. Someone who knows you to your core. Someone you didn't just grow up with, but shared a love story with. We've all been going down memory lane, and it's actually been a gift to revisit what I would call a golden era, growing up in TV at the time we did. Randy was one of the smartest people I've ever known. If you gave him enough time, he could figure anything out. I mean anything. He could solve any problem. He had a brilliant mind. I think school bored him, which is probably why he was always making everyone laugh and getting in trouble. Good trouble, of course. He was a true lover of nature, the ocean, the cliffs, the outdoors, the mountains, fishing. He loved dogs. Randy appreciated the simple things. His life moved organically and slowly, and that's such a gift to be around in a world that doesn't operate that way. Whenever you were with Randy, there was laughter, there was warmth, there was presence. Randy was childlike in the most beautiful way, in his humor, in his curiosity, and always being up for anything. His heart was guarded. He only let a few people in. I was lucky to be one of them. And when Randy let you in, he loved deeply. He felt deeply. I feel incredibly blessed to have experienced being loved by him, and I'll carry that in my heart forever. I recently found letters he wrote me years ago, ones I didn't even realize I had. In one, he wrote something so poignant and so poetic, so I just thought I'd share. If you close your arms about love, you will find that you are left holding only yourself. He wrote this a year into our relationship, recognizing that guarding your heart only makes you lonely. And open his heart to me, he did. Our years together were incredibly special. We were together constantly, pretty inseparable. I'm pretty sure I owe Hal back rent. I was essentially living at their house, and he always accepted me with open arms. He treated me like a daughter. Life was simple, free. Every day was a new adventure, no big responsibilities, just being young and present and in love. Those really were beautiful days. Some days he would just drive around in his Toyota Tacoma with Brock in tow. And we'd be listening to Grateful Dead and Fish cassette tapes, which I think he stole from Hasan. Live recordings from all over. Our love for music was something we deeply shared. Recently, I found a stack of old ticket stubs from Fish shows we went to together, and it brought back so many memories from when we were young and free, when we weren't thinking about the future, just living fully in the moment. His passing hit me hard. Randy was a huge chapter of my life. Time doesn't erase the people who helped shape us, and Randy will always hold a special place in my heart. There's something really special about lifelong friends, and something strange and beautiful about time and how it passes. Here we are in our 50s, and somehow we can still go right back to that teenage version of ourselves. We share so much history. It doesn't matter how much time passes before we see each other again. We pick up right where we left off because we know each other to the core. We've seen each other through each awkward stage, through all of our growing moments. We know each other's families and everything in between. And one of the gifts I will take from losing Randy is that, bringing us all back together. I think he would love this. And I want to close with a few lines from a Grateful Dead song that felt especially fitting today. James, I chose the same quote as you did. Going home, and I'm not gonna sing it. By the waterside, I will rest my bones. Fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. Randy, I hope you're up there taking this all in, and maybe even teaching Bob Weir how to fish. Rest in peace, our dear beloved Randy. Thank you.
Those who don't know me, my name is Todd. Randy and I became friends when we were 6 years old at Point Descending Elementary, 45 years ago. I knew Randy for a long time, long enough to see how life changed him, but also how it never did. He was one of my oldest best friends I ever had. Sorry. And the memories that we share, and good times didn't go on and on. One thing that never changed with Randy was that mischievous twinkle in his eye, common theme today. It was always there. He was a rascal. But to truly know Randy was to love him. He was so fun. Randy was incredibly smart, an amazing athlete. He was a handsome dude. He was fiercely loyal. He was tough. He wouldn't take crap from anybody. He was always down for fun. He was always down for fun, sometimes unpredictable and full of random shenanigans. His laugh was infectious, and his drive to find and create a good time was constant. Randy had a well-earned reputation for framing his friends. And if you ever heard Randy scream, "Check me out!" there was probably a 99% chance that he'd either just pant somebody in public or had created an awkward situation for a friend by attracting embarrassing attention while he dives behind the bush. Framing his friends was Randy's calling card that never got old, especially for him. Time could move so slowly, yet so fast at the same time. Randy and I were like brothers for many years, and we're joined at the hip. I'll always treasure the memories we shared in the slow times as teenagers. Our summers at Rat Beach, hanging at the can, our sailing trips to Catalina, a couple sets of afternoon tennis on a beautiful summer day in Salzburg, Austria with beers on the court, our road trip to Tucson, the St. Peter's by the Sea youth group, our trips to Tijuana with that youth group, living at the orphanage and building homes for the homeless, driving off the ski jump on the bumpy road in Portuguese Bend at 45 miles an hour on the way home from traffic school in San Pedro. Time on the PV cliffs, solving the world's problems, watching waves, telling stories, and just doing nothing. And high school formal dances, some guys will look to impress their dates by renting a limo and taking a limo to the dance. Randy and I thought that cleaning out the back of the Sinbad carpet truck and filling it with couches, with I think Hasan driving us, would be classic. It was. So I'll never forget the looks on the girls' faces when they learned our transportation to and from the Galleria was in the back of the Sinbad carpet truck, filled with couches, in the complete darkness. So funny. So funny. And then there were the last 20 years when time seems to move so fast. Randy and I didn't talk so much. I was living up north and we kind of went our separate ways. Yet when we spoke, time seemed to not have passed at all. I guess I just figured everything would always be okay. And we'd eventually reconnect and just pick up where we left off. I regret that now. Now Randy's gone. I wish I could have those last 20 years back. To spend more time with him, to do more, to say more. I know I'll see you again, man. I love you, Randy.
Just wanted to let everyone know how special it is to have you all here. I think for me, I wanted to convey what really, what the meaningful things that Randy held true to himself and to his heart. Obviously, hearing that I lost my brother was just the pivotal point. And kind of from that moment, I was pretty much out of thought. I didn't have any direction. I mean, fight or flight would be an understatement. The thought of fight or flight would be an understatement. It was truly out of body. And I had to go and get my mom, who had been witness to the events, and had 4.5 hours to try to piece together what I could do, what I could say. I had already broken the news to my dad. It was more or less out of body. And the minute I walked into their home, and I was sobbing with my mom, obviously. I was able to glance across and see on the refrigerator a big sticker, big magnet that said, "Listen." Simple word. And at that moment, it grounded me so much. And it was my brother reminding me of the importance of listening and the importance of being there for somebody. I think so much of his existence was about caring for others, and having a true sense, selfless sense. I wrote a few different things down about listening and what I feel it meant to him and what it means to me. I mean, thankfully, we were very, very close throughout our lives. You know, family can be a lot. And we knew there was no time for that. There was no time for anything but love for each other. And to truly feel so blessed to have kept a solid relationship with him. And it's, you know, all the talks about his brilliance, and I mean, for me, I was so blessed to be able to call him with him. And I think his ability to listen and help me, guide me, was something that I'm so thankful for. Anyway, the art of listening allows us to become better observers and slows our initial reactions. It enables our curiosity to hold back our ego, and beautiful things begin to happen. We become more empathetic, and we begin to have more patience. Nature for us was always the nature was this beautiful example that is right there for us. It's such a teacher. And we were lucky enough, my grandmother had a house on the Sacramento River up in Mount Shasta area of Northern California, and we spent our summers. We knew every swimming hole, we fished, we hiked, we camped, and we, most importantly, began to be cognizant of the beautiful relationships in nature. So nature has always been a binding force for us. I believe that nature is so important to unlocking our inner being. It requires keen observation to understand its workings. It has so many relationships that work seamlessly together. It has so much to teach us about ourselves. And it starts with listening and being present. The importance of not having walls and being acceptant of one another, and knowing that at the end of the day, we all yearn for the same things. That ideology helps us to understand how important we are to each other. And when I look at this room, it's almost as if the synapses of all of us, all that great energy, it's really what makes this world go round. You know, it's what's inside of us that so often with our busy life it gets hidden. Understanding that we all deserve love and to be loved. Most important for my brother was the act of giving. And he knew that giving of oneself far outweighed receiving, and the benefits of giving and the appreciation from friends and loved ones was a reward, is a reward. You know, that helps to unlock happiness. I'm so thankful that he was a big part of helping me come to these realizations. So I know I'll continue to miss him because I love him so much. I think that's a testament for all of us. Missing someone is a direct relationship to loving them. And that's a beautiful thing. Most importantly for me, just to convey that the simple task of listening plants these beautiful seeds that help us grow into amazing beings that help make this place so wonderful. So if we can all remember that, I think for my brother, that would be so great to continue to be empathetic and continue to love and surround ourselves with people that we love. It begins to be this beautiful mirror of who we are. It helps us know how important we are, not only to ourselves, but to other people. And it's a real important thing. So, thanks so much. I'm glad that we're all here celebrating. I'm just fortunate that I had 51 years of wonderfulness with him. All right, thanks so much.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright.
everything's new. Looking over the covers, still by you. Coffee warm on the table with a bowl of fruit. Headed out the door before you hit snooze. From afternoon till dusk, I'm loving you too much, till desire turns to dust. Loving you till I rust. Loving you till I rust. Driving 45 down Mill Road, still wringing my rags from the night before. Tired eyes distill across these Tennessee hills. It's either rabbit holes or stronger wheels. From afternoon till dusk, I'm loving you too much, till desire turns to dust. Loving you till I rust. Loving you till I rust. Smell the wood fire burning, taste of sweet home cooking. Look at you good looking, finally found our footing. From afternoon till dusk, I'm loving you too much, till desire turns to dust. Loving you till I rust. Loving you till I
I know your life on earth was trouble, and only you can know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. So go rest down that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven shouting love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us, gathered round your grave to grieve. Wish I could see the angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high.
Thanks again, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing the love. Thank you for our speakers and for the Arafat family. Randy had a room besides the master bedroom and Valerie's room in his house. And on the wall, he had a fisherman's prayer. It says, God grant that I may live to fish until my dying day. And when it comes to my last cast, I then most humbly pray. When the Lord's safe landing net, I'm peacefully asleep. Then in his mercy, I be judged as good enough to keep. Let's remember Randy in all our hearts with love. And thank you again for being here.